The following is a paid political announcement.
Lifelong Democrat Diana Florence served for 25 years as a Manhattan prosecutor under DA Robert Morgenthau. She put criminals away, stood up for victims, and protected our streets. Now, Diana is challenging failed Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg as an independent because it's time for a DA who fights for our families, not criminals. That's why Diana has won the support of organized labor, like the steamfitters, plumbers, and ironworkers, everyday New Yorkers who want a DA they can trust. Manhattan needs a DA who will do the job, prosecute crime. That's Diana Florence. Under Alvin Bragg, crime is up and prosecutions are down. Bragg doesn't prosecute crime. He plays partisan politics. Bragg failed to protect women and failed to protect workers. As a prosecutor, Diana Florence won groundbreaking convictions, fighting against corruption, domestic violence, wage theft, and deadly working conditions. She's always been a partner of unions, community groups, and to cops like us. For Manhattan District Attorney, vote for Diana Florence. Diana4DA.com. Paid for by Diana for Manhattan DA.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Russ Vought, the OMB head, posted this a few minutes ago. It's a very straight and to the point tweet on X. He said, and if you guys could put it up, the rifts have begun. That means a reduction in force. This is what Russ Vought came to the Oval Office to talk to President Trump about last week when the shutdown began. They were trying to figure out which agencies they could either temporarily or permanently suspend or terminate. And a big part of that is firing federal workers. An OMB source is telling us right now that not only have the rifts begun, but that they are substantial, which means that during a shutdown on a Friday afternoon, whatever the White House considers to be a substantial number of people are receiving notices either from their HR supervisors or via email that their services are no longer needed by the federal government. It's Russ Vought.
To begin firing federal employees during this government shutdown.
That's taking place right now, and it's all because of the Democrats. The Democrats are causing the loss of a lot of jobs with their it's a shutdown. It's their shutdown, not our shutdown. It's their shutdown.
Well. What have we here? Welcome, my friends, to the already It's Friday once again edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, the fastest hour in American media. As you just heard, the rifts have begun. Reductions in force. The Washington Post says that Trump administration begins laying off federal workers amid shutdowns. The Trump administration moved to begin laying off federal workers Friday while the government was shuttered, fulfilling threats from President Donald Trump to take advantage of the closure to shave off still more parts of the federal workforce he dislikes. The rifts have begun. White House Budget Director Russell Vought posted on X Friday using an acronym for the reduction in force. White House officials speaking on the condition of anonymity to discuss the plans confirmed the rifts were starting, said there will be substantial. White House did not provide specifics on how many employees were affected, which departments were affected. Layoffs taking place in Commerce, Treasury, Health and Human Services, Education, and Homeland Security departments, though that list is not exhaustive, according to multiple senior administration officials and government workers who spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss personal matters. Well, a little bit later in the article, the shutdown layoffs are the accumulation of years of groundwork laid by Vought, an architect of the Project 2025 playbook for Trump's second term, which outlined a drastically reduced federal bureaucracy. Vought's office, stretching into the hundreds, has threatened mass dismissals during the shutdown, perhaps stretching into the hundreds of thousands. Goodness gracious, Carlos, did you hear that? Hundreds of thousands hundreds of thousands of government workers might be laid off. And you know what? There'd still be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands left. Go figure that. Trump told reporters before the shutdown he might fire a lot of people once the shutdown began. Well, look, I want to be clear about something, and I say this all the time, and I want you to please bear in mind that I mean it, and I mean it sincerely. I don't celebrate when people get fired from their jobs. I'm not going to stand up here and wow, ha, 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 ha. Because having been fired before in my life, it's traumatic to be fired. It is traumatic to be, oh yes, I'm just seeing text from Her Majesty about that horrible debate that Abigail Spanberger had last night against Winsome. It was terrible for her against Winsome Sears. By the way, Winsome Sears is going to be on is scheduled to be on the Saturday Morning Vibe tomorrow. So we'll be speaking, hopefully, all things go well with Winsome Sears. Now, where was I? Oh, yes, I don't celebrate when people get fired. It's traumatic to be fired. And you know what? And I don't care who you are, unless you really don't care about your job and you have no attachment to your work. If you are working and not expecting to be fired for cause, for not doing your job, for something that you're just a lousy employee and you know it and they know it. Or if you don't have a work ethic, and I'm not even going to comment among younger generations, because that would be too true. It is a traumatic thing to be fired, especially if you're not among the wealthy, if you're not among the well-off, if you're not among those who only work because you want to work, not because you have to work. If you have to work in order to keep your bills paying, in order to keep juggling, as many people do, unless they've reached the stage where they don't have to juggle anymore. But if you have to work to keep all the balls of your life in motion and to keep everything paid, it is a trauma. It is a trauma and a stressful trauma to lose your job. And I'm not going to make fun of you if you lose your job. That said, Democrats don't care. Any sane person in the opposition party that has watched the way that this administration has done what they say they're going to do should have known that this was not an empty threat. But Chuck Schumer, TDS consumed, and Hakeem Jeffries, TDS consumed, have led a strategy that says we're going to fight for the impossible, and their strategy seems to be if it plays out long enough and if it hurts enough, Trump will bend. And if that's what they're banking on for this, just buckle up, because not only now do we see potentially thousands of government employees that are perhaps losing their jobs right now, but if they're expecting Donald Trump and the Republicans to bend on this, they may have another thing coming. Folks, we're already in day 10. The Senate has gone home. These senators, and believe me, they're not worried about anybody losing their jobs. They are going home and enjoying whatever they're doing on the weekend. And so a bunch of government employees lost their jobs. Do you think that they're going to be working or calling them, how can we help? How can we do something for you? They're going to go about their business, and they're scheduled to come back when? Not even Monday. Because they don't have to show up Monday to work. No, their work week starts on Tuesday, Carlos. They get out of Dodge most of the time early on Friday afternoons early. Try to get to DCA early and catch a flight at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Good luck. That's Washington. That's Reagan National Airport, 15 minutes away from the Capitol. Try to get, it's just a hop skip right over on the Virginia side. Try to get out of there around 3, 4 in the afternoon on a Friday when Congress is in session. Good luck. And that was before the shutdown. And now, well, I bet you that all the TSA people are working, not being paid. Today's the day they get their last paycheck, their last full paycheck. But try getting out. Congress beat you to the door. And most of the time, they don't show back up until midday on Tuesday. Yes, midday on Tuesday, they usually show up. It's a nice life if you can get it. Do you think that they honestly care that all these government workers are being laid off? Well, okay, so we got that. And we have a few on a few sound bites on that, but we got to get to the Letitia sound bites today. Oh, Letitia. How much time do we have now? Not enough time to be fair to Letitia. I want to be fair to her. We have Winsome and Abigail, Brandon Johnson, Kristi Noem. Let's do that. That's a quick one. Kristi Noem has made an announcement that's playing in all of America's airports. Well, that's supposed to be playing in all the airports. You want to bet that there are some airports who are saying, we're not going to run this announcement. We're not, oh, hell no, we're not playing it. Cut number 12. This is Kristi Noem's announcement to the airport. Flights delayed in so many places around the country now.
Hi, I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. It is TSA's top priority to make sure that you have the most pleasant and efficient airport experience as possible while we keep you safe. However, Democrats in Congress refuse to fund the federal government. And because of this, many of our operations are impacted, and most of our TSA employees are working without pay. We will continue to do all that we can to avoid delays that will impact your travel. And our hope is that Democrats will soon recognize the importance of opening the government.
Have a straight trip to wherever your final destination may be. James Golden, Snerdley, fastest hour in American media continues. Whatever you do, keep it here. Do not go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, it is off Friday afternoon here. Let's check in. Now let's get to a little Letitia. Letitia, yes. Now, Cassie Hunt on CNN had this to say about the indictment yesterday of New York Attorney General Letitia James.
Aside for a second, what Tish James, and again, we're still getting the details, but if it's related to this mortgage issue, I mean, this is something that everyone in America, or many people at least, if you're lucky enough to be able to buy a house in America, you deal with this, right? The federal government doesn't go after all of these people for doing this. Does that...
This is CNN's Cassie Hunt. Let's just get to that again. Let's just break that down a minute.
For a second, what Tish James, and again, we're still getting the details, but if it's related to this mortgage issue, I mean, this is something that everyone in America, or many people at least, if you're lucky enough to be able to buy a house in America, you deal with this, right?
Okay, that's it. So here's CNN's Cassie Hunt. This is something that everybody in America, if it's this mortgage thing, if it's cheating on your mortgage applications, this is something that everybody, well, many people in America do. If you're lucky enough, if in this horrible country, I'm obviously just adding my own interpretation of her remarks, folks. If you're lucky enough to be able to buy a house in this horrible country, if you're just among the few that actually even have a house and you buy a house, everybody cheats. Why are they coming after Letitia for cheating on our mortgage? So I wonder if anybody's going to look at Cassie's mortgages if she's a homeowner now. Everybody cheats. Okay, Letitia, we're not going to have time to play her full 2 minutes and 8-second remark, but just get the gist of it, because I don't want to hear the whole thing anyway. You've heard it.
This is nothing more than a continuation of the president's desperate weaponization of our justice system.
Wah.
He is forcing federal law enforcement agencies to do his bidding.
Wah.
All because I did my job as the New York State Attorney General.
Wah.
These charges are baseless.
Wah.
And the president's own public statements make clear that his only goal is political retribution at any cost.
Okay, thanks, Letitia. Speaking of, we'll talk about, because we've got some Letitia from way back when. We'll be back with some of that. Keep it right here, folks. Don't go away, please.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
My mission is clear.
Is it?
I'm focused. I'm prepared. I'm ready. I've been trained by the best. I went to Howard University.
Yes.
That overturned legal segregation in this country.
The
I've been
Democrats
taught in those classrooms where Thurgood Marshall once taught. I'm not afraid of no president. Donald Trump, we're ready for you. We're coming for you. We're standing up for you. We're fighting on. We're not going down silent. Victory, my friends, is clear. It's now. And I'm not waiting 4 years. I'm waiting 2 until a speaker by the name of Hakeem Jeffries comes to bring us some rest. Come on, ladies. It's up to us. We saved this democracy before. We'll save it now. Let's go.
Ready here. Hakeem Jeffries to give us some rest. I'm come prepared. I'm ready. Yes. We're going to save the country from Donald Trump. Ay. That would be, yes, Letitia James back in the day. James Golden, Snerdley with you here. Yes, my friends, that was, of course, Letitia. Letitia. Now, I was very puzzled by a text chain that was passing me by about this Letitia chain, and all of a sudden it turned incestual, and I'm like, what the heck is going on with this? He's like, well, Letitia was married to a father. I'm like, hey, let's not slander. Hey, what are we saying here? And then it says, on the Brooklyn property. Letitia listed her daddy as her husband. That's a little weird. Yeah. Fanny and her daddy. But Fanny's daddy was a different story. Fanny said her daddy was the one that told her to always pay in cash because that's a black thing and keep money, in the house. Don't put it in the banks. That was Fanny's daddy, the daddy of Fanny, the daddy Fanny. But but Fanny never said she was married to daddy. She didn't put that on paper anywhere. This thing with Letitia, I don't know. I'm married to my daddy? That's just kind of strange, isn't it? Even to put that on a piece of paper sounds a little bit strange. Okay. Anyway, believe it or not, there is pushback on this. Anderson Cooper surprised a lot of people. This even was a tabloid. The Daily Mail even went goo-goo over this one. Cut 5. He was on with the famous baiter. The big baiter. Jeffrey Toobin. You don't know why we call him the big baiter. Okay, Jeffrey Toobin was an analyst with CNN. He was on a Zoom call. During the Zoom call, he got caught working the Woody. And CNN briefly suspended the guy. This was front page everywhere. He was working his Woody during some kind of Zoom meeting that they had, became public, and in almost every news story, not written by a liberal, they will point that fact of Jeffrey Toobin's employment career out. Anyway, Anderson Cooper was on with, and that's why I call him the big baiter. He was on with the big baiter. Jeffrey Toobin was on with Anderson Cooper, and this is how that discussion went.
According to PolitiFact, the day after she was elected in 2018, Letitia James was asked by a community activist if she was going to sue President Trump, and she replied, quote, "Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the ass. He's going to know my name personally." I mean, that's not a great look for somebody who has just been elected or just been campaigning, who hasn't even looked, I guess, deeply at any evidence.
Well, that's, that we live in a system where attorneys general and district attorneys it's a bizarre case in many respects. First of all, it's incredibly small potatoes. This is a house that was purchased for $137,000 in 2020, a year when the average house in America was sold for $383,000. So any mortgage, any insurance on a house of that value is going to be very small, and in ordinary circumstances wouldn't draw the attention of the Department of Justice. But more importantly, what is so chilling about this case is that ever since Watergate, presidents have imposed on themselves the rule that they do not interfere in criminal prosecutions, much less demand them. But here you have a demanded prosecution, and one that the career people in the Eastern District of Virginia thought was an unworthy case. That's a really chilling example of how the criminal justice system is not
go put your Woody in the refrigerator or freezer and chill that, pal. Because there's nothing chill about this. Here's the deal. All of these D.C. types get on TV and try to pretend that the Biden years never happened. The stuff that happened in the Biden years didn't happen. That DOJ was not following the direction of the White House, was not following Joe Biden's lead. They pretend that under Obama, the Justice Department was, this just beautiful, wonderful, independent agency, when in fact even Eric Holder himself said, hey, I'm Obama's wingman. They didn't necessarily have to communicate through official channels to know what they were doing. So let's stop this stupid pretense that they try to sell on everybody. Ever since Watergate, no president has ever looked at. That's a lot of garbage. And anybody that follows politics knows it's a lot of garbage. Okay? And number one, just because presidents voluntarily put it on themselves, so what? Democrats began to think they owned D.C. after they neutered Richard Nixon with Watergate. Trump is not Nixon in that regard. He's not neutered by you Democrats, and he's not going to act like it. Deal with it. And Letitia James came after Trump. Everybody knows it. Anderson Cooper, did you hear Anderson Cooper act surprised? Well, PolitiFact said this, and he acted like he'd never heard it before. We all knew that Letitia James, even before she ran. She didn't just wait till the day after the campaign. She ran on the idea that she was going to take Donald Trump down. It was part of her campaign. So stop this pretense. Or stop displaying your ignorance, whatever one it is. A lot of these people in the mainstream press don't know what we know because they don't follow the news that we follow. They follow what they see on their own echo chamber networks. That's why you get Anderson Cooper acting all surprised. Oh, that's not a good look. Well, hell, we've been saying that as long as Letitia James. It wasn't a good look then. It wasn't a good look when she used the state attorney's office. She and Alvin Bragg. and Fannie. And let's not even talk about these judges with their political connections that we're all supposed to pretend don't exist. Anyway, so that's Anderson with the baiter. Scott Jennings, of course, nails it all the time. I'm going to hold on to the Scott Jennings until tomorrow because I want to get to some other things, and daylight is fading for our hour here. Jimmy Kimmel. I never watched the show. I saw a clip. I just want to play it real quick, get this out of the way. Cut 7. It speaks for itself. Here, Jimmy Kimmel.
You understand, there's no Antifa. This is an entirely imaginary organization. There is not an Antifa. This is no different than if they announced they rounded up a dozen Decepticons. We've captured the Chupacabra, everyone. And then it was Trump's turn to ratchet up the rhetoric with fiery images conjured from no one has any idea where.
So Antifa, according to this late night genius, there's no such organization as Antifa. And this is what passes for nighttime television in certain quarters of America. Now, as I said, tomorrow we're expecting to have Winsome Sears on. That debate last night was stunning. 3 minutes of, first of all, you all heard about this Jay Johnson, who has said, this guy's running for attorney general, young black guy running for attorney general of Virginia. He said of his Republican opponent, he wanted to have fantasies of killing him, and not just killing him, of killing his children. Not just kill the Republican, but he wanted to kill his children as well. This woman running for governor refuses to say this guy ought to step out of the race. This Abigail Spanberger. Winsome Sears just really, let's listen, cut 10 as she deals with this.
Over the last week, I've literally interacted with over 300,000 plus real.
That's not the right one. We'll have to find it. Then I guess we're going to hold it for tomorrow because...
Well, I think as everybody knows, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian before I'm a Republican, and I'm required to forgive people. And it's hard sometimes when somebody has abused you, etc., but it's something you must do because not to forgive is almost like if someone said, you drink poison thinking that it's going to affect the other person. And I want to live a decent life, and I don't want to not have peace in my life. And so as I've said before, I would not say that. So that's why I'm wondering why my opponent won't say beyond it's abhorrent and disgusting, why she won't say it is not okay and that he must leave the race because Jay Jones advocated the murder, Abigail, the murder of a man, a former speaker, as well as his children who were 2 and 5 years old. You have little girls. What would it take him pulling the trigger? Is that what would do it? And then you would say he needs to get out of the race? Abigail, you have nothing to say? Abigail, what if he said it about your 3 children? Is that when you would say he should get out of the race, Abigail? You're running to be governor.
This entire time, Abigail's pretending she's just looking away like she doesn't hear a word. She is yet to answer this question from anybody. A lot of Democrats do. Tim Kaine went so far as to say, hey, yeah, I know him. I still support the guy. I know him. I support him. This guy advocated killing children, toddlers, and killing his opponent. And Democrats refuse to say he should not be running for attorney general. It's stunning. Now, this whole transgender thing, whoa, that went next level. Okay, Katie Porter, we'll have to get to tomorrow. Katie Porter, she's imploding, as she should. That we got. Now, just to briefly go back. Adam Kinzinger. This is Adam Kinzinger, who, by the way, also said Letitia James should have never run on going after Donald Trump. But Adam Kinzinger had something else to say about the men and women in ICE that are helping to protect the country. And that is cut number 14, I hope. And this is what Adam Kinzinger had to say.
And then you deport them and you piss all over them so that you look tough on social media? Because somehow it makes you feel strong because you never served in the military, all these ICE agents, and you think that you know you were a coward, and now you have a chance to go out and look tough, so you're going to grab a child and put him in a zip tie? You're going to take a mom away in front of her kids and feel real tough doing that? Strength is not beating up, punching down on people less fortunate than you. That just makes you a piece of period.
So Adam Kinzinger has called ICE agents a piece of blank. He claims they're cowards and that they're attacking kids. They're just doing their jobs, folks. But this is what you get from Adam Kinzinger. Nobel Peace Prize. You all know what happened there. And look, the woman that won this prize, actually, I think, if there was still a real prize for profiles and courage, I think that Maria Corina Machado deserves that. But she was awarded the Peace Prize as well, and she gave a shout-out to Donald Trump. She says she dedicates the Peace Prize to the suffering people of Venezuela and to President Trump for his decisive support of our cause. And you know what? Here's the deal. Everybody knows what Donald Trump has done. Everybody knows. Everybody knows, whether they like to admit it, acknowledge it, or not, the efforts that Donald Trump has made in terms of trying to secure peace around the world. So, okay, let these people at the Nobel Prize humiliate and embarrass themselves, because that's what they're doing. People see this. And the bigger prize may be that he didn't get the prize, and everybody knows he should have, including some of his enemies. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what else we've got here. Oh. You know how Chicago says nothing going on in Chicago? Here's what's going on in Chicago, cut 15, by way of Aurora, Colorado. Here's what's been going on in Chicago.
Police say the final suspect in a violent kidnapping case from last year is now back here in Colorado to face charges. Last December, a man and a woman were allegedly taken into an empty apartment against their will at the Edge at Lowry Apartments. Aurora police say they found the victims bound, threatened, they said, and assaulted. Today, the police department announced the final suspect, Yorman Cuba Zabala, was extradited from Chicago here to Colorado and booked into the Arapahoe County Jail. Police say with his arrest, all 12 suspects connected to the case are now finally in custody.
Those would be the Tren de Agua people. And where was he hiding out? In Brandon Johnson and Governor Pritzker's Illinois and Chicago, where it's okay to be a lawless, fugitive criminal.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This is what tyranny looks like. Donald Trump has turned the Justice Department into his personal attack dog to go after his political enemies. This is tyranny. This is outrageous. Every American should be horrified, absolutely horrified about what has happened. Each day, our case to fix health care and end the shutdown gets better and better, stronger and stronger.
Yeah. Chuck you, Schumer, as workers are laid off. Their case gets better and better. Yeah. All of a sudden, he's worried about the DO. This is what tyranny looks like. It wasn't tyranny when the government was throwing everything they had at Donald Trump, his family, and his associates, throwing people in jail. Navarro, remember? Jail. Remember Roger Stone, jail. But no, that's just, Anyway, we leave you today, my friends, with the Carpenters. Carpenters were at number 2 on the United States singles charts 1970 with this one, originally recorded by Smokey Roberts under the name Freddie Allen. And it was used in a wedding-themed television commercial for a local bank out in California, the Crocker National Bank, back in 1970. But this became one of their iconic signature songs. May God bless. Protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude, my friends, for your being here with me, allowing me to be with you. God willing, we are back in the morning early. Hope you're here too. Until then, my friends, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
The following is a paid political announcement.
Lifelong Democrat Diana Florence served for 25 years as a Manhattan prosecutor under DA Robert Morgenthau. She put criminals away, stood up for victims, and protected our streets. Now, Diana is challenging failed Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg as an independent because it's time for a DA who fights for our families, not criminals. That's why Diana has won the support of organized labor, like the steamfitters, plumbers, and ironworkers, everyday New Yorkers who want a DA they can trust. Manhattan needs a DA who will do the job, prosecute crime. That's Diana Florence. Under Alvin Bragg, crime is up and prosecutions are down. Bragg doesn't prosecute crime. He plays partisan politics. Bragg failed to protect women and failed to protect workers. As a prosecutor, Diana Florence won groundbreaking convictions, fighting against corruption, domestic violence, wage theft, and deadly working conditions. She's always been a partner of unions, community groups, and to cops like us. For Manhattan District Attorney, vote for Diana Florence. Diana for DA.com. Paid for by Diana for Manhattan DA.